Hey, are we on? Yeah, we're on. Yeah, oh yeah, we're on. We're on. And we're off to infinity and beyond. Anyway, story time. So the last time I did one of these, I talked about Potbelly. Now, story time, just say story time is when I vent about a particular experience I had throughout the day. And like I said, the last time I did one of these, I talked about Potbelly, just horrible customer service and stuff. So this time I want to talk about a recent experience I had searching for a soul food restaurant. I was in the mood for some soul food about a few days ago. I was like, man, I really want some soul food. And soul food is one of the few things about black culture that I like. Soul food. Black people really know how to whip up a meal, bro. For sure. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, let me try to look around. I Googled some places and a lot of places came up. So I was like, all right, why not? Okay. And also, this particular day, I was in the mood for an acai bowl as well as some ocean spray cranberry juice mixed with elderberry. I love acai. I love elderberry. Healthy eating and stuff like that. So I get these products from Jules. Well, sometimes it depends. 'Cause you have obviously a lot of places that sell acai bowls and stuff, but I wanted to go to Jules to get these products. So anyway, I'm on my way to a soul food restaurant that I had found. I looked through the images and saw the location, looked at the reviews. And I was like, all right, let me try this place. I get there. Now I walk into the restaurant. I'm like, okay, where is everybody? I saw one family sitting and eating. I walk towards the food section. I get in line, or really, I can't even say I got in line because there was no line. I walk to where all the food is supposed to be, look through the glass. Now, I don't know what sort of dining style this is to where, you just look at the meals through the glass and you point out whatever you want. I don't know what it's called, what type of dining serving style this is, but it was one of those. I didn't see any food through the glass. No food in the pans, nothing. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So I look at my phone. I was like, all right, man, did I make it on time? Now the store or the restaurant was supposed to close in about an hour and 30 minutes. So that's plenty of time to get a meal. And I'm like, man, what's going on? And I didn't want to be bothered because I had other stuff to do this day. And the way everyone was standing around, the servers, the workers, the cashiers, it's like I just was. You can tell from the vibe you wouldn't have been in the mood either. They were just kind of like lounging around. One guy just hanging out, sitting on the table of all places. I'm like, oh my god. It like when I say there was no food, there was absolutely no food, dude. Like nothing. So I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So I was like, you know what, man, I'm out of here. Off to the next one, on to the next. Google it. I was like, all right, let me look for some new places. Bam, I see another one comes up. Now, on my way to this one, the next soul food restaurant, I stop at a Jules. Now, mind you, soul food, 9 times out of 10, most of these places are going to be in the hood. Let's be honest. So the Jules that I stopped at was in the hood too. So I was like, all right, let me hit up this Jules. Now, usually when I go and search or try to buy my products, especially very healthy products like acai bowls and elderberry and stuff like that. I typically go to not so hood areas of the city, if you will. But this time I was like, all right, let me give the hood a try. It's Jules, whatever is along the way, give it a try. Going to Jules, looking around, did not see my acai bowl, but I'm trying to be optimistic. Yeah, I'm trying. All right, let me go try to find the ocean spray juice. Maybe they have my elderberry. Didn't have that either. No cranberry/elderberry drink. I'm like, oh my god, man. Whatever. I walk out. I was like, well, no, off to the next. Let me try to find this next soul food restaurant. Maybe, to kind of lift my spirits a bit. I'm just catching L's so far. I go to the next one. I get to the place and I'm like, man, this place is a lot smaller than what was advertised on Google. I'm like, wow. I was like, well, I'll just give it a shot. I walk in there and I noticed this very small menu over where the cashier is. I'm like, this is the menu. I'm thinking to my head, it's like, dude, literally, there were only like 5 meals advertised. I'm like, what's going on? And I asked him, I was like, is this the full menu? He's like, oh no, we have more. You just got here. You got to take this card. He hands me a card. And he's like, "Oh, he just scan this QR code." I'm like, "Scan a code, man? I don't want to deal with this." And again, when I say this place was lit, it was like tiny. Like if I would have spread my arms, both arms wide, like wings, I would have been able to nearly touch both walls. That's just how small this place was. Like, dude, and now you don't even have a full menu, and I gotta scan a code, and I wasn't in the mood. And it's interesting. I saw a few pictures on the advertisement as far as what they serve and stuff, and it didn't look anything like what was advertised on Google. Now, Google, you got to be careful. I like to look at images a lot of times, but usually the images that I look at, I try to make sure they're images uploaded by customers or videos, because that's how you know it's the real deal, how authentic the place is or how good the place is or what the food looks like. But I should have known that this place was a red flag because the images were like generic. You can tell you can tell they weren't images of their actual food. I don't know where they got these images, but yeah, they did not serve what the images were suggesting that they serve. And so I didn't want to mess around with this whole scan the card, the QR thing. I was like, dude, what do you guys have? So I asked him, do you guys have yams? Do you serve yams? He's like, no, we ain't got that at the moment. I was like, do you guys have cabbage? He's like, no, we ain't got that. I'm like, dude, what the heck? And then it seemed like this place was just mostly a fried food place. It's like, dude, if I was in the mood for fried food, man, I just hit up, I don't know, Kentucky Fried Chicken or Popeyes or something. I don't know. I'm not in the mood for fried food like that, even though soul food, there you have fried chicken and stuff, but soul food is about baked chicken, baked fish as well. Everything isn't fried, French fries and fried chicken. Like, come on. I want some real soul food. So when he was like, he didn't have yams, bro, he didn't have greens and all the collard greens, I'm like, nah, this ain't the place for me. So I hightailed it out of there. I'm like, what's going on? Soul food place. It's deceiving, man. You're deceiving people. So the first place, what was the first place? They didn't have any food being served. The second place is false advertisement. So I'm like, man, this is so silly, dude. So I go to a third soul food joint. I'm like, all right, the three strikes, I'm out. If they don't have anything good, I'm out of here. So I get to the next one, and the place is closed. It's closed, dude. And I'm like, all right, I'm on Google. It says it closes at, what was it? I think it said it closes at 9 or something like that. But I got there well before 9 o'clock. So I'm like, what's the deal? And I get there, and the doors are locked, and someone through the window, this woman, she sees me, and she opens the door, and I'm like, hey, you guys open? She's like, oh, no, sorry, we're closed and stuff. Like, I forgot I'd give it a try. Now, I wasn't in the mood to tell her, well, at Google is saying you guys would be open, and you're telling me you're closed. Like, this place apparently closed like an hour before they were supposed to. So I'm like, what's the deal, man? And like I said, it's 3 strikes out. I'm just catching L's, L after L. I'm tired of catching an L. I want a W. So I say I'm going to a more Caucasian area of the town. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just go to a more Caucasian area of the town. I go there and drive off. And at this point, I'm done with the soul food stuff. I'm like, I'm just hungry. I want some food. So I end up going to one of the spots that I usually go to, and it's a Taiwanese restaurant. And when I get there, sure enough, it's open. The customer service was top notch. They're efficient. What would you like to order? I ended up using the kiosk, but sometimes I order the old-fashioned way. I speak to a person, but nonetheless, very professional. On the money, yes, we're open. You order my food, no problem. There you go. So while I'm waiting for my food, I actually drive down the street to a Jules. And now again, this is a more Caucasian area of town. Even though the restaurant is Asians, Taiwanese that I went to, you know how Asians are. They're gonna get their money wherever they can get it. They're gonna be up in a black neighborhood, a Hispanic neighborhood. They're gonna make their money no matter what the neighborhood. That's how it is. Anyway, so when I'm waiting for my food, I go to Jules. And what do you know? They had what I wanted. They had the acai bowl and they had the ocean spray cranberry juice mixed with the elderberry. Sure enough, of course they did. So now I'm finally, I'm a happy camper. Or at least have that. I go back, get my Taiwanese food. It's delicious as usual. They're very consistent. And it was that's how it ended, man. And this whole ordeal made me think about this. The white man. Now, what I'm about to say isn't profound. It's something that we all know. But again, these stories I just have to vent. And sometimes venting means saying the same old thing everybody already knows, stating the obvious. There's this thing about the white man is holding blacks back and this and that. And I look at it like this. When you're a black-owned business, again, you own the business. The white man has nothing to do with that. Now, as far as Jules is concerned, I get it. Jules is a franchise, corporate type of deal, business, or whatever you want to call it. And it's not black-owned. So it's gonna the products that they have in the store is gonna be relative to the environment, socioeconomic status, and of course they're gonna short certain socioeconomic statuses or environments. It is what it is. It's not okay. We get that, but in terms of black-owned business, what's the excuse? The white man doesn't control this. The white man isn't making you close the store an hour or 2 hours before the store was supposed to be closed. The white man isn't doing any of this stuff. So if you have any deficiencies in as far as how your business is ran, or if you have any shortcomings, that's your fault. It isn't the white man's fault. It's your fault. These are things like customer service, making sure you're open when Google says you're going to be open, making sure there's food in the restaurant. These are things you have control over. These have nothing to do with the white man whatsoever. So you get what I'm saying here. And again, like what I'm saying is it's not profound. Everybody knows it. But again, there's all this talk about what the white man, he trying to hold us back. And listen, there's a difference. I get it. There's a difference between there's a difference between holding someone back, and there's a difference between trying to hold somebody back. If you want to make the argument that there are certain white people who attempt to hold black people back, that's a fair argument, obviously. But attempting to hold you back and holding you back are two different things. Just because somebody is making an effort or an attempt to do so doesn't mean you have to allow it, or it doesn't mean it has to be successful. Because like I said, Jules aside, okay, black people don't own that, but you do control your own business. So what's the excuse there? The white man isn't in the neighborhoods trying to stop you from serving your food and stuff. And I know how this can spiral out of control. Then you'll have black people bringing up historical events like Black Wall Street. Well, whenever black people do have their own businesses and they are thriving, the white man comes and blows it up. And that's come on, man. We're just going down a rabbit hole. And that's true. I'm aware of these things. But at the same time, don't just give up. You can be aware of certain historical events and prepare for the worst case scenario if it comes. Like, let's just say you are a thriving business. You're professional. And then the white man comes with bombs and guns and just blows everything up and shoots you guys up. Okay, fine, whatever. But knowing this history, you should be able to prepare yourself for potential events, right? That being said, there's still no excuse to just be lazy about how you run a business. Well, the white man, he might just come and destroy the business anyway. So what's the point of even trying to really operate professionally? Well, if that's the case, if that's your thinking, your mentality, why even have a business to begin with? Just close it down completely. Don't even open it at all. Like, come on, man. Like, either what, all of the excuses it's dumb, man. Seriously. So yeah, that's my little rant, man. That's the black owned business for you right there. And even when I went into these places, you saw the difference as far as the customer service, the rudeness. Like, oh my God. And just the business hours are crazy too. Most soul food joints, I don't know if this is everywhere, but a lot of them, they're not open on Mondays. And I saw one place, it was only open one day a week. Then another place, it closes at like 4 o'clock. The hours are horrible. But if you look at most other restaurants, maybe Mexican owned, Asian owned restaurants, whatever, man, they're open every day, bro. They're making their money every day. They're on point. They're open when they say they're going to be open. They're making their money. No excuses. Then you got black people. Oh, we gotta close. Oh, we're closing early. If you go drive through a lot of these places, these black neighborhoods, a lot of businesses are no longer in business. Buildings are abandoned. Businesses can't stay open for longer than a year or two. It's crazy, man. Then you look at how other communities operate, open every day. They're getting it. Good customer service. Sometimes someone can be crazy. Like those Chinese people, they can be kind of rude sometimes, depending on the situation. I've never had any bad experiences at a Chinese restaurant specifically, but I know how Chinese people can be. I do have some other experience. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, man, as far as this goes, so it's crazy, man. I can understand you wanting maybe a day off. Fine, you want a Sunday off or Monday off. But man, when you are open, make sure you're getting it. Make sure you're on point. What's up, man? Make sure you have quality hours. So yeah, that's my rant, man. Okay. By the way, okay. So after that day, a few days later, I was in the mood for a soul food again. Right. So in the very last soul food place that I went to that was closed, I tried that place again because I saw the advertisement. It actually looked like it could be pretty delicious. So I was like, all right, let me give it another shot. I go there once again, it's closed. And I look at Google, I'm like, man, what the heck? And Google says it's supposed to be open. Was not open. I said, screw this. I said, screw this crap, So, well, there you go. That's my experience trying to find some soul food. Like I said, soul food is delicious when you can actually get some, when the place is actually open and serving. But man, this is an aspect of black-owned businesses that is quite annoying, and I just kind of wanted to vent about it. Yeah. Anyway, later.